The massive alien ships appeared out of nowhere, floating silently above the moon, like giant jellyfish made of metal and bone. Their surfaces glowed with strange purple and green lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Each ship was easily the size of a city, and there were dozens of them blocking out the stars. People on Earth stopped what they were doing to look up at the night sky. The ships were so big you could see them even during the day, casting weird shadows across the planet. News channels switched to emergency broadcasts, but most humans just pulled out their phones to take pictures. Admiral Thrakinos stood on the bridge of his flagship, feeling proud of the fear his fleet must be causing. His species had conquered over 200 worlds using this exact same approach. The sight of their bioships always made primitive species beg for mercy. He pressed a button, and his voice echoed across every radio, television, and internet connection on Earth. "Attention humans of the planet you call Earth. This is Admiral Thrakinos of the mighty Kathmoran Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our domain." His words were cold and commanding, the same speech he had given to countless other species before destroying their resistance. "You have exactly 72 of your hours to surrender completely. Lay down all weapons. Prepare your leaders for processing. Accept Kathmoran rule, or we will turn your cities to ash and your oceans to steam." Meanwhile, in a military bunker deep beneath Seoul, General Park Jun was enjoying his favorite lunch, spicy ramen with extra vegetables. The emergency alert buzzed on his desk, but he didn't rush to answer it. He slurped another mouthful of noodles first. "Hey, Jan," he called to his communications officer across the room. "Did you hear that alien guy just now? Pretty standard stuff, right?" Lieutenant Kim Yeon looked up from her own meal, a container of homemade kimchi her grandmother had prepared. She had been in this job for 5 years now. An alien invasion. Threats came about once every few months. "Yes, sir," heard the whole thing. Sounded like the usual surrender or die routine. "Should I pull up our response templates?" June nodded, still eating. "Yeah, let's go with template C, the one where we laugh at them and ask if they brought snacks to share. That always confuses them." Jan grinned and started typing. "Just another Tuesday at Earth Defense Command." Within an hour of the alien threat, Earth's official response was ready. But instead of a serious military briefing or panicked government statement, something completely different appeared on every screen across the planet. The camera showed the United Nations Assembly Hall in New York, but it looked nothing like the formal, serious place people expected. Delegates from every country on Earth were sitting at their desks, but they weren't looking worried or scared. Instead, they were eating lunch and snacking like they were watching a movie. The Japanese representative was sharing a box of cookies with the person next to him. The Brazilian delegate had ordered pizza and was offering slices to anyone nearby. Someone from Canada was loudly crunching on potato chips. The whole room buzzed with casual conversation and laughter. On the main screen at the front of the hall, the alien admiral's threatening message played on repeat. But instead of striking fear into anyone's heart, it was being treated like entertainment. People pointed at the screen and made jokes about the alien's dramatic delivery. Ambassador Lee Hyun walked up to the podium, completely relaxed. In one hand, he held a chocolate-glazed donut with a big bite taken out of it. He looked more like someone giving a casual presentation at work than a world leader responding to an invasion threat. "Hello there, our new cosmic friends," he said, cheerfully, speaking directly into the camera that would broadcast his words to the alien fleet. "First, thanks for the show. That was some pretty impressive dramatic acting up there. Very theatrical." He paused to take another bite of his donut, chewing thoughtfully before continuing. "Now, about your demands for surrender and all that. We really do appreciate the entertainment value, but we're going to have to ask you to take a number and get in line. See, the Vrelians showed up just last Tuesday with almost the exact same speech, and frankly, they're still ahead of you in the queue. The entire assembly burst into laughter. These weren't nervous laughs or fake smiles meant to hide fear. These were genuine, belly-deep laughs from people who found the whole situation genuinely funny. From somewhere in the back rows, a delegate shouted, "Hey, ask them if they take requests. Tell them to make those ships sparkle more next time." Another voice called out, "Do they have any snacks up there? We could trade recipes." Ambassador Lee grinned and looked back at the screen. "You heard them, folks. Earth is open for business, friendship, and food exchanges. Conquest, not so much." High above Earth, on the bridge of the massive alien flagship, Admiral Threkinos couldn't believe what his sensors were telling him. His 4 eyes kept darting between different screens, each one showing readings that made no sense according to everything he knew about conquest. Sub-Commander Veltar ran the ship's scanners for the 4th time, his tentacles dancing nervously over the control panels. The results came back identical to the previous 3 scans, and he turned to face his admiral with complete confusion written across his alien features. "Sir, I've triple-checked everything. The planetary defense readings are, well, they're bizarre. No energy shields have been raised around their cities. No military fleets are launching from their surface. No evacuation ships are fleeing to other star systems. Instead, thermal readings show massive gatherings of humans in open areas." Threkinos leaned forward in his command chair, studying the detailed feeds his ships were collecting from Earth's surface. What he saw defied everything he understood about how species reacted to invasion threats. Across the planet, humans were climbing onto rooftops and tall buildings, but not to hide or fortify their positions. They were bringing folding chairs, coolers, full of cold drinks, and strange viewing devices they pointed at his ships. Groups of humans sat together sharing food and beverages while staring up at the sky like they were watching some kind of scheduled entertainment. The scanner picked up thousands of bright flashes from the surface. Humans taking photographs of his war fleet with their primitive devices. Some were even taking pictures of themselves with his ships visible in the background, making strange facial expressions and gestures with their hands. Most disturbing of all were the human children. Instead of running in terror or hiding in underground shelters, they were gathered in open spaces, holding up large painted signs. Veltar adjusted the sensors to read the text clearly. "Welcome, space friends, and we hope you like pizza. And rate our planet 5 stars, please. This is completely unprecedented in our military records," Threkinos muttered, his voice filled with bewilderment. "In over 300 successful conquests, no species has ever reacted like this. Review all intelligence files on human military capabilities immediately." Veltar's tentacles moved quickly across his workstation, pulling up every piece of data their scouts had gathered about Earth over the past several months. What he found only deepened their confusion. "Sir, according to our intelligence, humans haven't engaged in major planetary warfare for several decades. They appear to spend most of their time creating and consuming fictional entertainment about alien invasions for recreation." The Admiral's confidence was starting to crack. Dr. Park Min sat in her cluttered university office, surrounded by stacks of papers, alien artifacts, and coffee cups from at least 3 different planets. Her phone had been ringing non-stop for the past 2 hours, and she answered each call with the same patient tone she used when explaining basic concepts to her first-year students. "Hello, Admiral Threkinos," she said, settling back in her worn leather chair. "Yes, I saw your fleet arrive this morning. Very impressive light show, by the way. Your bioships have excellent color coordination compared to last month's visitors." On her computer screen, she could see the frustrated alien commander, trying to understand why his invasion wasn't working. Dr. Park had been Earth's Director of Extraterrestrial Relations for 15 years now, and this conversation happened more often than most people realized. "No, Admiral, humans don't respond well to intimidation tactics," she explained, pulling up a thick folder labeled Previous Invasion Attempts from her desk drawer. We've tried explaining this to other species, but everyone seems to think they'll be different. The Zell Empire showed up exactly 13 months ago, with almost identical threats. They tried to scare us with orbital bombardment demonstrations over the Pacific Ocean. She chuckled softly, remembering that particular week. We turned their light show into the biggest music festival Earth had ever seen. 3 million people camped on beaches for 5 days straight, dancing to electronic music while the accidentally provided the most amazing laser light display in history. The Zells were so confused, they eventually landed just to ask what was happening. Dr. Park flipped through her files, each one documenting a different species that had tried to conquer Earth over the years. Oh, and the hegemony of Crix from 4 years ago. They demanded we pay tribute or face destruction, so we sent them our complete collection of funny cat videos and every pizza recipe humanity had ever invented. Turned out they'd never experienced cheese before. They're still trying to perfect the perfect pepperoni blend on their home planet. Just then, her assistant Kim Soo entered, carrying a steaming cup of tea and wearing a grin that suggested good news. "Professor, thought you'd want to know the latest numbers from the betting pools." Dr. Park accepted the tea gratefully. "How much are people wagering this time?" "We're up to 12 billion won and climbing," Kim Soo reported, checking her tablet. "Current odds heavily favor these new aliens lasting less than a week before they give up the invasion. Idea, and ask about joining our tourism board instead. The over-under on them opening a restaurant is currently sitting at 10 days. Dr. Park smiled into her teacup, remembering similar bets from previous invasions. Admiral Thrakinos was growing more frustrated by the hour. Nothing about this invasion was going according to plan. Every species he had conquered before had shown proper fear by now. Cities evacuating, military forces mobilizing, leaders begging for mercy. But these humans just kept laughing at him. "Enough," he growled, to his crew. "If they won't take our words seriously, we'll show them the power of Kethmoran technology. Prepare for atmospheric entry. We'll demonstrate our plasma weapons over their largest ocean." His bioships gracefully descended through Earth's atmosphere, their organic hulls glowing brighter as they entered the thicker air. Positioning themselves over the Pacific Ocean, they began firing controlled plasma bursts into the water. The weapons created massive columns of superheated steam and painted the entire sky in brilliant shades of purple, green, and electric blue. The display was genuinely spectacular. Waves of colored light danced across the clouds, while the ocean below boiled and frothed where the plasma struck. Any reasonable species should have been terrified by this demonstration of destructive power. Instead, within 5 minutes of the light show beginning, something called social media exploded with human activity. The hashtag alien light show started trending globally as millions of humans posted videos and photos of the plasma display. Comments ranged from "best fireworks ever" to "when's the next show, and do they take requests?" On beaches across the Pacific Rim, something even stranger happened. Street vendors appeared as if from nowhere, wheeling carts loaded with hastily printed t-shirts, reading Kethmoran, Invasion Survivor. I saw aliens, and all I got was this cool light show, an Earth's Got Talent, Alien Edition. A teenager named Wante set up his phone on a beach in California and started live streaming the entire event. "Okay everyone, welcome back to my channel," he said casually, while plasma bolts lit up the sky behind him. "So we've got aliens doing their thing right now. I'm gonna rate this performance a solid 7 out of 10. The colors are amazing, but honestly, they could use more sparkles next time. Maybe some music too." His live stream attracted over 2 million viewers in real time, with comments flooding in faster than anyone could read them. The final straw came when the mayor of Busan held an impromptu press conference. "We want to officially thank our new alien visitors for this incredible tourism boost," she announced with a straight face. Hotel bookings are up 300% this week. We'd love to formally invite them to participate in next month's International Film Festival. Thrakonos watched all of this happening and felt something he'd never experienced before: complete bewilderment. Professor Chohai had been expecting this call, as Earth's leading expert on human survival patterns. She knew that confused alien invaders always ended up contacting her university eventually. She adjusted her thick glasses and activated the communication link to the Kethmoran flagship, appearing on their main screen with the same patient expression she used when explaining basic history to her. "Undergraduate students, good afternoon, Admiral Traknos," she said pleasantly, settling into her desk chair surrounded by towers of history books and research papers. "I figured you'd be calling about now. Let me save you some time and frustration here." The alien admiral looked exactly as bewildered as she expected. His 4 eyes were wide with confusion, and his mandibles kept clicking nervously. Behind him, she could see other crew members gathering around, equally puzzled by human behavior. "Admiral, I think there's been a fundamental misunderstanding about what humans are," she began, gesturing to the wall display behind her desk. "See? Humans have survived ice ages that froze most of the planet solid. We've lived through supervolcano eruptions that blocked out the sun for years. We've endured world wars where we fought each other with increasingly creative ways to cause destruction." She clicked the remote, and images flashed across her screen showing Earth's tumultuous history. "We've survived plagues that killed off huge portions of our population, asteroid impacts that wiped out entire ecosystems. And perhaps most impressively, we survived the invention of social media without destroying our civilization completely." "Professor." Cho paused to take a sip of her coffee, letting that information sink in. "Here's the thing that really confuses visiting species like yourselves. We actually pay money to watch movies about alien invasions because we find them relaxing. It's entertainment for us." She pulled up another set of files on her computer. "In just the past century, we've been conquered by 14 different alien species. The Zelians, the Vreks, the hegemony of Krix, the Mollusk Empire, and 10 others. Want to know where they are now?" Admiral Thrakonos leaned forward, finally showing some interest. "They're all running successful businesses here on Earth. The Vreks make the most incredible pastries you've ever tasted. Their bakery in downtown Seoul has a 3-week waiting list. The Zelians started a moving company because their technology makes relocating furniture ridiculously easy. But your species faces extinction," Thrakonos protested weakly, his voice lacking its earlier confidence. Professor Cho laughed gently. "Admiral, extinction is basically our natural state. We've been technically extinct several times, according to various scientific measurements. For humans, Tuesday is just another day of somehow not dying despite all logic suggesting we should have disappeared millennia ago." Admiral Thrakonos had reached his breaking point. Hours of watching humans treat his invasion fleet like a tourist attraction had pushed him beyond frustration into genuine anger. His bioships pulsed with agitated energy as he opened another communication channel to Earth. "Enough of these games," he roared, his voice echoing across every frequency. "You mock us because you think we're harmless. Show us your planetary defenses right now, or we'll demonstrate what true annihilation looks like." Back in the Seoul Command Center, General Park Jun looked up from his afternoon coffee with a tired expression. He'd been hoping to avoid this part, but every alien species eventually demanded the same thing. They all wanted proof that Earth could actually defend itself. "Well, they asked for it," he said with a sigh, walking over to a control panel that looked suspiciously more advanced than standard human technology. "Lieutenant Kim, activate the defensive grid. Full display." Kim Yan pressed a series of buttons, and suddenly the space around Earth began to shimmer, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. What had appeared to be empty space moments before now revealed thousands upon thousands of hidden installations floating in perfect formation around the planet. Weapon platforms of every imaginable design materialized from their concealment fields. Some were clearly human in origin, with sleek metal surfaces and recognizable Earth technology. But others were obviously alien, organic-looking structures that pulsed with their own internal light. Crystalline formations that sparkled like diamonds, and mechanical constructs that defied easy description. "That's our collection," General June explained casually, as if he were showing off a hobby rather than revealing the most advanced defensive network in the galaxy. "See, every species that's tried to invade Earth over the years ended up leaving us their military technology when they decided to become citizens instead. We've had plenty of time to study it all and make some improvements." Admiral Thracanos stared in shock as his sensors detected energy readings that shouldn't have been possible. Some of these weapon platforms were more advanced than anything his own species had developed. Then something even more impossible happened. Near Mars, a massive dreadnought uncloaked itself, easily 3 times the size of Thracanos' flagship. Its hull was covered in what looked exactly like Kethmoran bioship technology, but somehow more refined and powerful than anything his people had ever built. Lieutenant Colonel Bei Jin joined the conversation, munching on a sandwich. "Oh, that one. The Zephyrians contributed that beauty after we helped them resolve their civil war about 5 years ago. Really nice people. They run the best fusion restaurants in New Tokyo now." Sub-Commander Veltar had been frantically researching for hours, his tentacles flying across multiple data terminals as he dug deeper into galactic records. What he found made his bioluminescent patches fade to a sickly pale color. With trembling appendages, he approached Admiral Thracanos, clutching a datapad filled with information that would change everything. "Sir," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "we need to talk immediately. I've been digging through the galactic database, cross-referencing every piece of information about Earth and human interactions with other species." Admiral Thracanos turned from his tactical display, still frustrated from seeing Earth's impossible defenses. "What did you find, Veltar? Please tell me you discovered some weakness we can exploit." Veltar's tendrils shook as he handed over the datapad. "Sir, we've made a terrible, terrible mistake. Earth isn't some undefended backwater planet full of primitive beings. It's actually the informal capital of the Galactic Community Council. Every single species that's attempted to conquer Earth over the past century has ended up doing the exact same thing." "What thing?" Thracanos demanded, though he was beginning to suspect he didn't want to know the answer. "They all joined the humans instead of conquering them," Veltar explained, his voice filled with amazement and horror. "Look at this data: trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, cultural exchange programs, immigration treaties. Earth's former invaders now serve as everything from galactic peacekeepers to restaurant owners to emergency responders." Thracanos stared at the information streaming across his screens, his 4 eyes widening with each new revelation. The Empire now ran Earth's most efficient transportation network. The Vrex had revolutionized Earth's food industry. The Mollusk Confederation handled interplanetary communications. Dozens of species that had arrived as conquerors were now thriving as Earth citizens. "They don't conquer worlds," Sir Velt continued, his voice filled with wonder. "They adopt entire species. The humans have somehow become the galaxy's unofficial family, and everyone who tries to fight them ends up wanting to join them instead." Before Admiral Thracanos could fully process this information, their main screen activated again. Ambassador Li Hyun appeared, still looking completely relaxed and holding what appeared to be a bag of cookies. Admiral Li said with a warm smile, "We've been watching your research efforts, and we've prepared a comprehensive welcome package for you and your crew. There's excellent housing available in Seoul, and honestly, we think your bioships would make absolutely fantastic emergency medical vessels. We could really use that technology to help people." Interested in hearing more? 6 months had passed since the Kethmoran fleet arrived with threats of conquest, and the transformation was remarkable. Former Admiral Thrakinos now spent his days running the most popular fusion restaurant in Seoul's trendy Gangnam district. His massive bioship sat permanently parked outside the restaurant, its organic hull converted into additional dining space that attracted customers from across the solar system. The restaurant's specialty had become legendary throughout the city. Thrakinos had discovered that Kethmoran protein paste, when properly seasoned and served alongside traditional Korean barbecue, created a flavor combination that was surprisingly addictive to multiple species. Lines of humans, aliens, and hybrid families stretched around the block every evening, all waiting to try his famous galactic bulgogi. Dr. Parkman had become one of his most regular customers, bringing her 2 young grandchildren every Friday afternoon. The kids were learning to speak Kethmoran from Thrakinos himself, who had discovered an unexpected talent and passion for teaching. His patient explanations of alien grammar, delivered in his deep, resonant voice, had made him a favorite among Seoul's international community. Teacher Thrak, Teacher Thrak. The children would call out in their mixture of Korean and Kethmoran as they ran into the restaurant, their backpacks bouncing behind them. The former invasion fleet had found new purpose throughout the city. Their bioships, with their incredible speed and advanced medical capabilities, now served as Seoul's primary emergency response system. The vessels could reach any location in the city within minutes and had already saved hundreds of lives during medical emergencies, natural disasters, and accidents. Sub-Commander Veltar had discovered his calling as the head traffic controller for Earth's busiest starport. His multiple tentacles and natural ability to process complex spatial relationships made him perfectly suited for managing the three-dimensional traffic patterns of ships coming and going from Earth's atmosphere. He worked with genuine enthusiasm, taking pride in maintaining the safest spaceflight record in the galaxy. One evening, as the restaurant was closing, Veltar stopped by for dinner with his old commander. They sat together at a quiet table, sharing a meal and watching the city lights twinkle outside. "I still don't completely understand how they do it," Veltar said thoughtfully, gesturing toward the humans walking past on the street. "They make conquest seem completely unnecessary, like the idea never even occurred to them." Thrakinos looked up from carefully plating another order for a late customer, his mandibles curved in what humans had learned to recognize as his version of a smile. "They don't conquer anyone, old friend. They just make you realize you were actually looking for a home all along."